One of the cruelest things I see all the time derail people from their weight loss goals and hold them back from fitness and avoid a healthier life is emotional eating. People get stuck in this vicious cycle of emotional eating, and it sometimes feels like there's not a solution. But today I have 4 solutions that can help guide you out of emotional eating so that you can achieve your weight loss goals, your fitness goals, and live a healthier life. What's good, Simple Achievers? Steve Hicks here, online coach for Simple Success Fitness. And over on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Simple Success Fitness, someone sent me a message. They said, Steven, I think I'm an emotional eater, but I don't know how to stop. What do you suggest? And I gave her a couple different recommendations, and I checked back a couple weeks later, and she said she was doing much better. And so I wanted to share these with you so that if emotional eating is your problem, you have the tools now to overcome this and move forward with your health and wellness. The first tool I want to give you is the Triple D defense. Now, I love this, and I wish I could take credit for this, but I actually got this from my friend earlier this year. Nikki Strong of Strong Nutrition told me the Triple D defense and how she uses this to overcome cravings with her clients. The Triple D defense is really simple, but really magnificent. The first D is going to be delay. What you want to do is you want to take note of when you've got this craving, when you have this urge, and you want to delay it, right? If I look at my watch, right now it is about 8:30 in the morning. If I were to take this, what I would want to do if I'm really jonesing for some Doritos, I want to wait till 8:40. I want to give it 10 to 15 minutes until I actually act on this. The reason for that is that cravings and urges and emotions, they come at us like a wave, like a tsunami. They can hit us all at once. And if we hit them at the peak of that wave, it's going to overload us. It's going to wash us away. And so we want to delay that so that the wave can pass. And there's a whole lot of hormones and neurotransmitters and different emotions and things going on in the body that do actually peak and wave and decrease over time. So there is a biochemical basis behind this delay. So we want to delay 10 to 15 minutes. And then during that 10 to 15 minutes, we want to distract ourselves. Right? If we focus on the food, if I focus on Doritos for 15 minutes, I'm going to get a lot of serotonin in my brain that's going to make me focus on that, and my craving is going to actually go up. So I'm not riding the wave, I'm magnifying the wave if I focus on it. However, if I start to read a book, or if I start to clean the house, or if I work on responding to emails, or maybe if I make a YouTube video, right? If I do something different and I get my head wrapped around a different project or thinking about something else, I'm no longer building up that wave. That wave is now passing. And after that 10, 15 minutes, once I've delayed and I've distracted during the delay, I can now decide the third D in the Triple D defense. I can decide if I want Doritos, right? And now that the emotions are lower, now that that wave has sunk, I can decide, you know what, I don't want Doritos right now. I want to get a little bit leaner for the beach weather. I've got a vacation coming up in a couple weeks and I want to look best for that. So I'm going to choose my goals over the Doritos now. Or maybe, you know what, you get to the end of that delay period and you still want Doritos, right? But now that it's not as strong, now that it's not like, oh, I want Doritos. Now that it's like, dude, you know what? Doritos would be nice. I would enjoy that. I can grab a handful of Doritos and put that in a bowl, and I can make a smaller decision that's closer in line with my health and wellness goals, but I can enjoy that. I can watch some TV. I can enjoy that. The flavors are going to fulfill me and make me happy, and I'm going to get some entertainment at the same time. I think that's worth it on occasions. I can make that decision now that the waves drop down a little bit. And so after you delay, after you distract, you get to decide. And you don't necessarily have to decide to avoid it, but with less emotions there, you can often decide to have less of it. So that's the first strategy, is the Triple D defense. The second strategy that I want to give you is to schedule your meals to help fight temptations. This does it in 2 ways. The first way that scheduling meals fights temptations is that it gives you some framework and it can make you stronger willed. If I get a temptation at 2:30 in the afternoon for some food and there is no plan on when I'm going to eat next, I'm hungry now, I need to eat now. That's what I'm going to do. I have no other plan, I have no alternative. Of course I'm going to give in to that temptation. However, if I have an afternoon snack planned at 3 o'clock, and I have like a banana and some trail mix ready to go at 3 o'clock, I can look at my temptation and be like, you know what? It's 30 minutes. I can wait. I can wait 30 minutes. I can do something else right now. And then at 3 o'clock, I can have the food that I had planned. I can fight my temptation because I know there's something coming up to fulfill me in that way. A lot of times people don't have a plan. They kind of eat when they're hungry, when they feel like it, and whatever they feel like. And within this lawlessness, this chaos, it's really hard to have structure to lean back on to fight those temptations. The second thing that meal timing can do for you is that it can promote satiety throughout the day. Oftentimes, people have this really large meal window, oftentimes between lunch and dinner. Say you have lunch at 11:30 and dinner at 7 o'clock. That's 8.5 hours that your body's going to be digesting and metabolizing and building up a deficit and starting to build a hunger and saying, look, dude, I need more energy. It's been a while. And so at 4 o'clock, you're going to start getting these temptations. Your body's going to start telling you you're hungry. And because you don't have meal times, there's nothing to fight that hunger. And so it's going to build and it's going to build and it's going to build. And then 5 o'clock's going to roll around and you're going to be shoving ice cream down your face on the couch because you're so ravenously hungry. I'm going to destroy a bag of Doritos if that happens to me. And so meal timing can help curb those feelings of hunger by promoting satiety regularly throughout the day. The third variable, the third strategy I recommend for people to fight emotional eating is to ask yourself this simple question. When you're hungry, am I physically hungry or am I emotionally hungry? That question alone can sometimes be really impactful because sometimes we get confused and, if we're bored and hungry, we think that we're just hungry, but it's not necessarily the truth. Sometimes we do eat to fill our bellies, and sometimes we eat to fill our hearts and fill our souls. And you know what? There's good cause for that. We know that food can trigger the reward center in the brain, the release of dopamine that is akin to or similar to drugs and addictions and other things along those lines. We know that happens, especially with foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt. Oh man, those stimulate the brain so hard. There was a study on rats. If you've ever had a pet rat, you know rats are pretty timid creatures. If you have a rat cage, they tend to stay next to the edge because they're afraid of predators. And if you put food in the middle of their cage, they will get really, really, really hungry before they eat that food. However, if you put Fruit Loops in the middle, they will abandon the safety of the edges to go get that Fruit Loop because it overstimulates the brain. We know that happens with sugar, fat, and salt. And so there is some emotional filling we can get with foods, especially foods high in sugar, fat, and salt. But there's also emotional filling that we get because food can harken back to happy times. If you think back to childhood, if you guys did really well in a class, your teacher rewarded you with a pizza party. You had a pizza party, it was a great time, everyone had a blast. Pizza is party. Pizza is fun. Of course, when I want to have fun, I'm going to have pizza. Right? If you're in little leagues and little sports teams and you win the championship, your parents take you out for ice cream. Ice cream is happiness. And so when I'm down, of course I need ice cream because ice cream is happiness. Ice cream is celebration. Or think about going to your grandmother's house and she has fresh cookies or fresh apple pie. And it's your grandmother. She loves you so much. And now cookies and pie, they're not cookies and pie. They're grandma's love. And so when you're feeling down, of course you want grandma's love, right? Food does this, and we cannot ignore that it does. And you know what? Honestly, there are times in life when getting a quick hit of happiness is completely worth it. I'm not going to tell you that you need to be a religious zealot to food and diet and never have happy foods again. I don't want you to live that life. I want you to live a healthier, happier life. So I used to live right down the street from a really great ice cream shop. And every time my buddy came over to visit, he would ask me, dude, you want to get some ice cream? Let's go get some ice cream. And I did, because I wanted to hang out with my friend. That's a happy time. And honestly, I like ice cream. Ice cream is happiness, right? We talk about that, taking the kids out to ice cream to celebrate. And so I didn't want to pass on that. But I had to understand that it was an emotional eating. I wasn't physically hungry. I was doing this emotionally. And I had to ask myself, is one bite going to be emotionally satisfying? If you're physically hungry, one bite's not enough. But if you're emotionally hungry, maybe one bite is. So every time we went to the ice cream shop, I would get the kid scoop. Just a little bit of happiness, right? Just enough to put a smile on my face, enjoy the time with my buddy. And it's okay. It is okay. Let me tell you this again. It is okay. It is okay to eat to get a little hit of happiness. You don't have to be upset about that. We just want to know whether you're eating just enough to be happy or if you're gorging there. That's something that we do want to avoid. And we also want to avoid it if it is going to be incredibly common. So on occasion, on rare occasions, having a hit of happiness is okay. But if it's something that's going to be a daily struggle, if it's something that's a long-term struggle that's been occurring for many months, then knowing that we're emotionally hungry, we can start to think about what are other things that we can do to feed ourselves, right? Some people really enjoy knitting or crocheting. My mom loves crocheting. Every time she got stressed, she would grab her needles and she would make a blanket. And those blankets are awesome. That was beneficial. Those are memories now with the family. She fed herself emotionally through crocheting. Some people have other hobbies. Some people like video games. Some people like to go for a walk. That's physically beneficial and emotionally filling. Some people like to go for a bike ride. Sometimes it might just be good to go with your partner for a stroll around the block, or maybe writing is a release that you like that fills you emotionally, or maybe poetry, right? Poetry can be emotionally filling. There are things we can substitute that build us up, that don't hold us back from our health goals. So when you ask yourself if you're physically hungry or emotionally hungry, that gives you so many possibilities. So those three strategies, and I told you there's going to be a fourth one, but those three strategies, those are crucial in what I recommend everyone starts and focuses on when they first notice an emotional eating problem. So the triple D defense. You want to delay, distract, and decide. Second is scheduling your meals. You want to put meal times in place so that you're stronger willed with temptations between meals, but also so that you're more satisfied and satiated between meals so that your hunger cravings don't rise up on you. And then the third one is ask yourself, are you physically hungry or are you emotionally hungry? And finally, if those three tips don't help you, then the fourth one is to seek professional help. There are thousands of counselors and psychiatrists throughout the country that can help you overcome struggles and overcome stresses that are causing these emotional eatings. And to avoid putting a Band-Aid on it, but to actually cut it out and overcome that so that you can live a healthier, happier life. And there may be some stigma about actually asking people for help on emotional eating, but honestly, that stigma is stupid. Don't worry about that stigma. Everybody needs help. Look, professional athletes have a team of coaches. They need help and they're at the best of the game. Everybody needs some help sometime. And that's why I do online coaching, is that to provide help to people more often, because it's really, really, really hard to do this on your own. We all need help. We all need support, and we all need that accountability. So feel free to reach out to a professional to get more in depth, to talk about your particular needs and your special occasions and your special circumstances, to create a strategy that is actually going to work for you. So triple D defense, schedule your meals, ask yourself if you're physically hungry or emotionally hungry, and if these aren't working for you, seek help. seek help. And subscribe to this channel so you get more great content like this twice a week, every week, so that together you and I can live a healthier, happier life.